Those who are at the back can be able to see the background. Those who are at the back. Okay. So these are material right. So now at the back, can you able to see those who are at the back?
Wi-Fi password. Okay, sir. இது என்ன Wi-Fi என்ன வரும்?
Percentage of the kids. The fat percentage has moved from 24 to 30%. 6% of the fat got improved, which is equivalent to a some out around 5 to 8 kg. And I'm just talking about out of 10 people, there are more chances, 5 to 6 people, the rate has increased minimum by 8 kg. I'm just talking about the kids, not about the adults. So when they come back to the school, for the scenario, the first thing we have to concentrate is cardiovascular fitness, because it will increase your fat percentage, and apart from them, the fitness levels are in the rock bottom. So when they are in the rock bottom, the least intensity you have to just work on cardiorespiratory fitness for 2 to 3 weeks. Then you have to go for muscular endurance, then strength, then flexibility. So these are all the last one. I'm just talking about at the bottom of the thing. It comes around speed and reaction time. What will happen? So whenever there is a TT period or whenever the thing which happens, all the kids evidence are we are 100% fit, sir. We can able to give the game. We can able to continue our training methodology to the full optimal potential. But keep it in mind, for the speed and for the reaction and for the power training, they are not at all ready. Because for 1.5 years, they are in a break. It takes minimum 4 to 6 weeks. I'm just talking about very minimum. They need minimum 4 to 6 weeks of basic conditioning. Then only we can go for an advanced conditioning. That's what. In between, any questions you can ask. No problem.
I will share in our WhatsApp group.
Okay. So these are all the advanced strength training methodology, what we call it as. If somebody comes for your training and you have to assess their strength, how to find out they are in supreme level or they are in an average level or they are in a low range. So they have given certain numbers for the upper body. Once again, somebody can able to do a bench press for 100 kg. I'm just giving the example. Why I'm just giving 100? It is easy to convert, and then I'm very good at max. And so they can do an incline bench press. Incline bench press, they have to do 91%, and then it can able to do 100 kg. For a dips, I can able to do 117 kg. Just numbers is enough. And then for a tricep extension, I can able to do 40%. If all these criteria fit, then only they are 100% fit for the upper body speed training or power training. If this is not comes under you, we have to work on. It will take some time. And for the lower body, if I can able to do squat 100 kg, back squat, I have to do 80 kg of a French squat and then 60 kg of a clean. In the 3 components, if they can clear, they are ready for the plyometrics and then speed training. If this criteria they couldn't reach, we have to work for it. This was the thing which was happened in 2010, not even 2010. It was followed by all the European nations and as well like the foreign countries from 2000 onwards. If there is any dip, if there is any change, we have to work on it. So what will happen if it doesn't meet the criteria? A shot put thrower, the performance may come from 13 meters to 12 meters, even though the technique are perfect, even though they are training better, but the strength levels has come down. If it is in a fast bowler, if this happens from a fast bowler, from 140 kilometers, the speed will drop to 130 kilometers. What we will do? More pain, more gain. We tell, okay, this is not enough. We have to increase your training. We will make them push, and end up in injury. The reason is lack of strength. The strength has come down. There are so many reasons. Either they have not recovered properly, or too much of the training, or the nutrition levels are not adequate, and one more thing, stress levels. Each and everyone after post-COVID level, the stress levels are higher, apart from those who are working in government organizations and specialized organizations. Other people, those who are working in corporates, and apart from this fourth person, the stress levels are very higher because of the EMI. So whenever your stress levels are higher, automatically your stress levels will come down. So through this testing, we can find out what is the reason behind it. We can analyze. So we can just keep it as 2 to 3 tests. This is for the advanced people, but we can use it for the common children. Simply they have to do 15 push-ups, 1 chin-ups or 2 chin-ups they have to do. If this is not possible, they are not at all ready for the time being. We have to make them stronger, and then we have to bring back to the advanced level of training. So these are all the smaller tests. These are all the strength ratio needs to be followed for a sports person. Suppose my quadricep strength is 100 kg. Hamstring I have to do 80 kg or 80%. That should be ideal. Then only they can able to run faster. The reaction time will be better. So this test you can find out by using the leg extension and leg curl. And then what should be the strength between your abductor and adductor strength? It should be close to 1.1 or 90%. If it is less than 90%, there are more chances they may get a groin injury. This is one of the prime reasons, because all planes are not single planes. They have to move on all 3 directions: forward, backward, sideways, and rotation. For that, adductor plays a very major role. If they doesn't have adequate amount of 1:1 strength, the more chances they will get injured. This may be the easiest way to find out. And then external rotators and internal rotators. So my external rotator strength comparatively to the internal rotator, this is the exercises. It should be 66% to 75%. If they couldn't able to meet it, there may be more chances they may complain of shoulder pain. If somebody complains of shoulder pain, 80 to 90%, there are more chances that external rotator and internal rotator strength are lesser than 65%. So we have to work for 3 to 4 weeks, for 5 weeks to improve the strength, then only the pain will go on. Or else what we will do, we will apply ice, or else we will take painkiller, and then things will happen on. It will be remain for 2 to 3 weeks, then we will come back. And this is a very important test to find out which person is stronger, which person is more explosive. PMJ is counter movement jump. SJ is squat jumps. So counter movement jump minus squat jump divided by squat jump, they have to, the difference should be hardly 10%. If it is 10%, they are fine. If it is less than 10%, they are more stronger. Some people you have find out, they can able to push weight, but they still able to run on. Those people come under that category, so they have to do more of explosive training. And the other thing comes on, some people they are too agile. too fast, but they doesn't have adequate amount of strength. If you push it on, they will fall down. The chances of getting injury will be very higher. For those people, you have to work on what we call it as strength speed or plyometry with weight, 30 to 40% of 1 hour. Okay. So to develop acceleration, the one component which we are commonly missing, what it is like we have a very good amount of knowledge of technique, tactical thing, experience, but one thing what we are missing is not giving adequate amount of rest. If you want to improve speed for 0 to 40 meters, so the rest should be 5 to 6 minutes. This is closer to the competition time I am just talking about. This is not about off season. If the competition is within the next 3 weeks or within the 1 month, make it as simple like this. So to improve speed or improve acceleration in between rests at 90 to 95% of the intensity, you have to give 4 minutes of a rest. Commonly what mistake you will be doing on, you will be like starting less than 1 minute or 2 minutes. So it will improve endurance, not speed. All this data are done by research from the research paper. This is not my view. So everything is like up to date, and then this was done by practice by all the practitioners, which will give you a result. So for everybody, somebody run for 10 meters, you have to give minimum of 1 minute of rest. So suppose they ran for 20 meters, you have to do 2 minutes of rest. This is closer to the competition time I am just talking about, not for the preparatory period or off season. The next page. Okay. To improve maximal velocity, speed will happen only between 40 meters to 60 meters. After 60 meters, your speed will come down or you will go for a maintenance. So to improve speed, always you should run for 60 meters only. Once you can see the improvement on 60 meters timing, then only you should move for 70 to 80 meters. If you can see improvement on 70 to 80 meters, then you can go for 100 meters. So normally we will be trying from the level 4 and coming to the bottom. So whenever there is a 40 to 60 meters of timing, you can see that should be a 78 minutes rest. At least you have to give 5 minutes of rest to improve for the school level. This is all this is done by the top athletes, international athletes. For school athletes, the intensity, the recovery may drop by another 2 minutes. So 5 minutes of rest you have to. If you are training any sprint closer to the competition, 3 weeks of time, you should give minimum 5 minutes of recovery. So for the speed endurance, so somebody if you are giving a training for 80 meters to 150 meters, this comes under speed endurance, which doesn't come under speed. So to improve speed endurance, so we have to give minimum 8 to 10 minutes of rest. So 5 to 6 minutes. And in between sets, suppose I am giving 8 repetitions of 2 sets. The sense means first 8 repetitions, they have to each and every rep they have to take 10 minutes. For the second set, you have to give minimum 15 minutes. All this for a more of a quality, not of a quantity. Sorry, sir. You have any questions, sir? Yeah.
On the body, come down and muscles get cramped.
Sir,
After every second.
In between the thing, actually another meter, 120 meters, there was a from 10 minutes. Don't your temperature comes down, body temperature, muscle feeling, want to come down and want to lead to cramp, and then once again you have to accelerate.
okay. Yeah. So this coming down. So if you are getting cramping because of lack of temperature or lack of electrolyte, your muscular endurance levels are lesser.
I meant body pulls from.
I'm just coming to you, sir. There are two ways you have to follow on. So you have to go for active recovery, and apart from this, in between, they have to hear the coverage. The sense means they have to go for the what we call it as the tracks, warm clothes. They have to wear it on, or else this will happen. I'm just talking about this is the final preparatory period, closer to the competition, last 3 weeks. And this 5 to 7 to 8 minutes, they are all like international athletes. Their body weight will be close to 90 kgs. So they take a longer time to recover. One of the reasons why they have given like minimum 5 minutes of recovery to all this phosphagen system, ATP, CP, to replenish to the full optimum level, it will take minimum 3.5 minutes. So within 3.5 minutes, if you give a repetition, the speed endurance will develop. Speed, velocity, which won't be improved to is 100%. Okay, sir. So suppose if you want to improve your timing on 0 to 10 yards or 10 meters, you have to work on strength speed. What are all strength speed? Olympic lifting, clean and jerk, and apart from this medicine ball jumps and throw. If you work on those 3 areas, automatically your 0 to 10 meters will improve. Suppose if you want to improve a tennis player, reaction time. So most of the tennis movement will happen around 0 to 10 meters only. Most predominantly. So suppose if you want to improve your watts 0 to 10 meters timing, you have to work on strength training, Olympic lifting, and heavy resisted running like a sledge. You can see an improvement at a very faster rate. You can save some amount of time. Suppose if you want to improve from 10 to 20 yards or 20 yards, which is the final stages of a tennis, like at the end stages of the game. So all the movement will come on 0 to 40 meters, or for a basketball player, 10 to 20 yards. If you want to improve the speed, you have to work on speed strength. What is speed strength? With 1 RM, if my weight is like maximum I can lift 100 kg, only 30 to 40 kg, I have to do explosive training. Automatically 10 to 20 yards will improve. And then short bounce, fast acceleration, or what we call it as ABC. And then for 30 yards only, you have to work on plyometrics, running, the sense means like acceleration training, and apart from this bounding. From 30 to 40 yards only, we have to work on maximal velocity or like in a speed running. So why I had taken this? So suppose somebody wants to improve on 0 to 10 meters, you have to work more on weight training plus running to a minimal extent for the preparatory period. For 10 to 20 yards, it's once again of what we call it as 60% of the weight training, 40% of the running. When it comes to 30 yards, 50-50. When it comes to 40 yards, 70% of acceleration and 30% of the weight training. So just as an overall idea you can incorporate based on your experience and based on the kids you are training, you can just modify it. These are all not hardcore rules. You can just take a leaf out of it and try to apply it. Apply for minimum 5 to 10 kids for a year. Then you may get a one value, what works for you. Then you can follow this. So which is not 100% you have to follow this. These are all the guidelines. Based on those guidelines, you have to take a leaf out of it and then modify it according to the necessity. So, everybody this is the easiest thing. So what are all the types of contraction? Concentric, eccentric, and isokinetic. So why in this I have brought this, isokinetic is the ideal way. In the future, in all the schools, and just thinking on at least in the zone, we may get an isokinetic machine. If you get an isokinetic machine, or if you have a chance to work with like in a gym, I think so. isokinetic machines are available. So an isokinetic machine, if somebody takes a longer time to develop strength, so those people, they have to work on the strength. I am slightly confusing you. Make it as simple. In isokinetic machine, like if they take a longer time to finish the test, which means that they are weaker. If they are taking a longer time to finish the isokinetic test, which means that they are not stronger. So we have to work on strength training. The next one.
Can you quote with some examples, sir? Can you quote out with some examples?
Yeah, this one. So this is called force velocity curve. So the top exercises, whatever I had given, which needs to be done on an off season. Whatever the exercises which needs to be given at the bottom, we have to work on towards the completion time. In between, it's like a pre-completion time. So the first thing is maximum strength. During the off season, our predominant aim is to improve the maximum strength. That should be our predominant goal, and then making the hypertrophy slightly higher. So what are all the exercises need to be done for that is back squat, bench press, deadlift. I had given 3 examples. So, sorry? Yeah.
Off-season.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Off-season exercise. Off-season. She's asking.
So off-season exercise is back squat. Now I'm just talking about from the strength component. I'm just not talking about the conditioning component. In off-season, you can play around whatever you want to test. So you can concentrate, you can work more for the volume. During the off-season, you can use plenty of volume. This is what we call it as like more exercises, more running. When it comes to the competition time, your methodology should be more of the quality, not doing too much of a repetition. It should be a quality one, and if you see a drop in 10% of the speed on your watts, you have to give more recovery. Suppose I ran 60 meters at 5 seconds, which is not possible. I'm just telling you for easy conversion. 60 meters at 5 seconds. In the next repetition, my timing improved to 5.5 seconds or 5.58 seconds. I am not fully recovered. So the recovery should be improved from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. Suppose if you are given for the first repetition 2 minutes, for the second repetition you have to give minimum 3 minutes, which means that they are not fully recovered. So that's the thing. And when it comes on to the strength speed, so this is after once the off season is done, then we have to come for the strength speed. So regarding the practical thing, we are working on RL tomorrow. This is the theory classes. So I'm just giving an example. So whatever the doubts you have on practicals and the exercises component, which will be shown to you on tomorrow morning. So snatch, clean and jerk. So right now it is era of information. Instagram, YouTube, Google. Simply you can type snatch, clean and jerk. You have plenty of videos with plenty of information with the right thing. And peak power. This is like the competition which is going to happen on next 2 months. Before the second month, what we have to do is peak power, which is improving your explosive power. What we have to do is 30 to 80% of your 1 RM, you have to prescribe the exercises. The exercises are jump squats, and apart from this, medicine ball throws. So closer to the competition time. At the end, last thing, which is your maximal velocity, or what we call it as sprint training. So keep it is very simple. The maximum strength should be done on off season, and the maximum velocity should be done on peak season or competition time. In between two, you can mix and match. What we call it as in between preparatory period. So these are all the different types of strength. Suppose if I want my reaction time to improve, if my 100 meters or like a starting time, right from coming out of the block, if my reaction time has to improve, I have to work on starting strength. Starting strength is like working with light equipments. I think it becomes too technical, I can understand. Sorry, I have prepared a slide in such a way. So absolute strength will be very helpful for a non-weight class people. In such instance, the game which doesn't need weight class, there are certain games like boxing, taekwondo, wrestling, you need to maintain your body weight. For those things, you need to work on relative strength. For no weight class, there is no weight class in the sense you have to work toward absolute strength. So, whenever you are picking any exercises, you have to pick all three exercises. The order should be sagittal plane, frontal plane, and transverse plane. What is sagittal plane? Moving forward and backward. This is sagittal plane. Moving sideways is frontal plane. Rotational, which is called transverse plane. So, the majority should be sagittal plane. If they became strong on sagittal plane, then you have to work on frontal plane. Then at the last only you have to work on transverse plane. Suppose volleyball serve needs to be improved because rotation component is involved, you have to work on transverse plane. Bowlers, if you want to improve the speed, to a certain extent you have to work on transverse plane. So whichever there is rotation is involved in terms of discus, shot put to a certain extent, and then hammer throw, all those to get a huge improvement. At the end stages, you have to work on towards rotational plane exercises. So everybody aware of type 1, type 2, type 3, type 2B. So there are certain people who come under intermediate. The intermediate people are tougher to train because if you give more of endurance training, their endurance will improve. If you give more of speed training, automatically speed will improve. So you have to find out. The case of type 1 fibers people, they are very good on endurance, no problem, you can just isolate them. There are certain people who are very good only on sprint, no problem. But intermediate fiber people will be very good on running and as well as endurance. Suppose if you want to improve the speed, you have the 80% workout only for the speed. If you give more endurance, the speed will come down. Most of the intermediate fibers will be like very just 400 meters in terms of to a certain extent basketball, ball handlers to a certain type, and then to a football players. So intermediate fibers. It's like an salt. If you add too much of an salt, food will get spoiled. If there is no salt, you can't eat. So intermediate fibers are like that. Their volume, their prescription need to be noted to the extreme. That's it. So this is a very important slide for you. Okay. So whenever you have a doubt to train which component they have to train on, suppose basketball player you have to train. In basketball, 50% comes under short time energy system, and then 20% intermediate or anaerobic glycolysis. Aerobic component only 20%. So whenever you design a program, anyway I am just having the slide with you, you can design a program according to this proportion. 60, 20, 20. If for a tennis people, 70% short term, 20% intermediate, hardly 10% only long distance, which means that 95% of the training for tennis should be short distance only. There is no need you have to make them run for long distance. So whenever there is a doubt, you can use this slide. So almost like 14 to 15 games are there. So you can take this component. Okay. Okay. As I finish my postology, whenever you are designing a program, the program should be designed. If you start train a client, first you need to work on their mobility and then flexibility. Then you have to work towards stability. Then you have to go for muscular endurance. Then you have to go for hypertrophy. Then you have to work for strength. Then you have to work for power and speed. It will take minimum 3 to 4 years in this passion. In the meanwhile, the students may go out of the school, but it should be the order. At least for the initially whoever comes after the post-COVID or break. So you have to check their mobility. If the mobility is restricted, you have to work on mobility. Then you have to work towards flexibility. Then stability, muscular endurance. If you train on this way, you won't get injured. The reason why I am just telling on this is a way to go for a progression. So if you follow those principles, the chances of getting injury will be very higher and they will be on the top level of performance. Next slide. Okay. So as we are, everybody know what is this type of different posture. So you can see automatic. So these are all the types of posture. If you observe all the students, most of the students will be fall any one of the category. If this is the ideal posture, this will be hardly 10%. You can see. Okay. And if you can see a person who is having forwarded head posture, this is called forwarded head posture. If somebody is having this kind of posture, there may be more chances they may get a neck ache or shoulder pain. That's what I mean. They will be very strong on pushing strength. The pulling strength will be very lesser. So if somebody couldn't do a puller, to improve puller, what you have to do? You have to stretch the chest muscles and strengthen the back muscles. This is what we call it as you can see some people like hands like this way, especially taller people. If you can see those kind of people, automatically they are also more prone for shoulder injury, neck injury, and for a team component, they take a longer time to recover. This kind of people will take a longer time to recover. The reason for this, as I am in this posture, my lung is compressed. When my lung is compressed, I can take more amount of exhalation. I can't take more amount of inhalation, which means that I couldn't take more amount of oxygen. If I couldn't take more amount of oxygen, longer time recovery will take on, and they may get frequent knocks, aches and pains on the upper back. And this is the component thing you can see more on the ladies or for a girl. The reason is that's the nature. Yeah, exercise. At the end, so kyphosis is they have too much of nerve. Those people, the lower abdominal strength will be very lesser. And in these cases, and especially for a female, there may be frequently they will be complaining about groin pain or else like towards an abdominal area. More frequently they will be complaining about aches and pains. And for those kind of people, the running, jumping needs to be given in moderate amount because the shock absorber is gone. As it is too longer, we can't take too much of a load. So whenever you see this kind of a person, what we have to do is that we have to be little careful towards jumping based exercises. And there may be more chances, there may be too much complaining about back ache and as well as knee ache. In those conditions, what stretching you have to do is hip flexor stretching or lunge stretch. This one. This stretch they have to do more. And apart from this, quadriceps they have to stretch a lot. And this is a spray back. This is also very limited. If these people for the hip flexor muscles are too weak, so you have to make the simple core training mode for this kind of people. More kind of core training. Next slide. Once again. Thoracic kyphosis, chest and shoulder muscles you have to stretch, and back muscles you have to strengthen.
Sir, you can keep a notebook on the head and walk. That can be done.
That can be done, ma'am, which improves your to a certain amount of proprioception, and then the loading is very lesser. So you have to, for the more of cable training or else like resistance band training you have to incorporate, and then weight should be lesser, and then you have to work towards muscular endurance, because if there is a loss of posture, it is all these muscles what we call it as anti-gravity muscles, which means that they are more endurance in nature. So if you add too much of a load, it doesn't respond. So you have to work more towards repetitions. So this kind of people, you have to give more for resistance training with band, and that too very slower, 12 to 15 repetition, 3 to 4 sets, and then recovery should be 30 to 45 seconds. In those conditions only you can see a major improvement. Why? Because most of the things, like as you are aware of, I have given like latest trends. Some of the trends you should be known of. What is the reason behind it is like, if the knowledge is limited to one side, not because I'm just talking about, it doesn't go on. Hardly we will be training the allied people. As you people are training the grassroots, the grassroots needs to be improved. Then only we can make a big contribution from the sports level. The reason, one of the reasons like why we've been able to achieve this, like there is lack of concentration on the grassroots level. So it's almost like the 40 teachers, minimum 40 kids, which is 1,600. So it keeps going. So that's why this kind of information at least you should be aware of. Then automatically after like 2 to 3 seminars, you will be like taking class for us. It's the other way. Initially now it's like you are listening to me, then the next classes you will be like taking classes for us. So these are all the one thing. So if for 10 minutes we can keep some kind of Q&A, and then we have another 3-4 slides. That's it. So any side like 5 minutes. Okay.
Sir, in case of people like 30, we ladies, we start getting tummies. So how to, I tried my best, but their stomach doesn't go.
Ma'am, first you have to check your blood profile, like whether you have any deficiency.
No, mostly ladies have that
I'm just
issue.
telling on
They can
suppose
reduce.
if you have a zinc deficiency, or like if you have vitamin D deficiency, or if you have iron deficiency, or vitamin B12, there may be more chances. First you have to check your blood. Then if you do a weight training or like whatever the training, the body will respond faster. Or else,
Like you said about blood, and that, like which case I should not train them.
you can train them. I'm just telling you, it takes a longer time. Without a blood testing, it will take 6 months for you to get the results. If you done a blood testing, if you find out for anyone, within 2 to 3 months you can get the results.
Okay.
That's what I'm.
Diet should be.
That should be the predominant. Okay, that's the thing. And for once you cross the 30 years, irrespective of the gender, you have to do more of the weight training, because you start to lose muscle mass. Whenever you lose muscle mass, from a 2-liter engine or 3-liter engine car, you became like an 800 cc. More mileage will comes on. So even if you eat very lesser, but you try to store more. So one of the reasons, that's the prime reason. So minimum 2 days of the weight training which needs to be done. Moderate weight, sir. 8 to 12 reps. Once after 6 months, once you become superior, once you have the experience, and then you can go for a heavy weight. First 6 months to 7 months, always work with moderate loads. Less weight, more repetition. Then moderate weights, moderate repetitions. 12 to 15 reps, then 8 to 10 reps, then only 5 reps. More heavier weight. That should be the thing.
Sir, you have told about type 1, type 2 and type 3 muscle fiber. So, do we have any scale to measure how we can identify who is type 1, type 2?
We don't have any equipment to do so. Okay.
Sir, I will be sharing one more slide for you. There is a simple test. Simple, like it can do, there is 1 RM test. First, like you have to do your 1 RM. Based on your 1 RM, within 10 to 15 minutes, you have to conduct the test. If they can do more repetition, they have more type 1 fibers, or like what we call it as endurance fibers. If they can do very lesser reps, like suppose they have done 10 reps, first 15 minutes you are getting a rest. then conducting the retest with the same weight, but they are doing only 5 reps. They are more fast twitch fibers. Suppose they are doing more than 8 reps or 10 reps, there may be more chances they may comes under endurance time. So I will be sharing the slides now. So that is a simple test, or else you have to go for muscle biopsy test. Muscle biopsy test is equivalent to 1 month, not 1 month, 1 year of school fees. It comes around 30,000 to 40,000. You have to take it, and then it should be done by a supervised person, and that it needs to be sent to abroad. Then only you can make
We
a
don't have
proper.
any facility in India.
No need, sir. No need. I'm just telling you on this. All the small things we have, he will work on this. That's more than enough. And some of the results are not quite. Even they corrected it, they couldn't do it properly. There are more chances of failure will happen from. So don't wait to spend too much of the money right now at this time. That is an option also.
About 50 years,
Ah.
weight training, except moderate and normal and what's the duration of that given to the rest?
So recovery should be minimum 60 seconds, sir, 90 seconds. And then you can find out if you are recovered, you can go for a second exercise. If you are not recovered, the body will tell you, take a rest always once you cross 40, 50, there is no hurry. Like slowly you can just go on. Like that always ego will come for us. Like today I have lifted 50 kg, tomorrow I can't do, I have to lift on. That is the chances that injury will happen. So within 2 days, the body is telling you, I am not fully recovered. Give some time. That's why calm down. If you give 2 days of rest, automatically you will come back.
Burnout syndrome takes place.
Fatigue, then you can go ahead.
Sorry?
The body doesn't feel a symptom of fatigue, you can go ahead.
Yes, sir. You can see the difference. You can see a difference. That's why I'm just telling weekly 2 days of my training is more than enough. Maximum 3 days, and then play again. Sorry, sir.
I was just telling you, then the burnout syndrome takes place because of the enthusiasm of the child, right?
Yeah.
One another question. The hunchback, what we have in the center, right? Is it natural or it is due to the professional approach also? Because when we train swimmers, especially the breaststroke
Yeah.
many of them do have this one.
Then you can see volleyball players, they have a bow leg.
Bowler.
So whenever this will happen, our bone is rigid. So when you apply too much of the pressure on one side, automatically deformation will happen from. The simple thing is like we have to give us structural balance exercises or balanced exercises.
So when it comes to the question of breaststroke,
And breaststrokers, you have to work more towards improve the pulling strength. Because breaststroke is like it's more of like flexion. Yeah. So it is like more of a flexion, and the lower trapezius muscle strength will be like very minimal comparatively to the upper trapezius. That's why there is like rounded posture. So you have to work on towards lower trapezius. There are if you type lower trapezius strength training exercises on Google or YouTube, all the exercises are there. You have to implement those exercises, which will take 3 to 4 months. And apart from that, you have to work on towards improving your hip strength. If hip is stronger, automatically upper body will help you to bring it. If the hip is not stronger, your upper body is doing too much of the work. So it is a vice versa.
I think that there's a slight contradiction in this, in the sense the stroke itself strengthens your your back
I'll
and
make it simple, sir. Why your right hand is stronger, why your left hand is weaker?
okay, fine. But that when I'm doing a breaststroke, it is not my right leg or left leg that kicks out the most or pulls out the most.
No, what I'm just telling on, your lower body is also helping you. If your lower body is like having the minimum amount of strength, so the upper body take a little rest. If lower body is like too weaker, it has to compensate. That's what I understand.
But here the stroke itself is like that. You take a pull and then a kick, pull and a kick. So it is balancing itself and it is supporting the whole issue. What my point is very simple. That is when I give the exercise to recover the